Hi, everyone. It's Lori Sinclair with Bainbridge Homes Real Estate. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. Today, I'm going to be speaking with Mr. Alan Berry of Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation. Hi, Alan. How are you this morning?
I'm fine. How are you doing, Lori? It's good
Oh,
to see
I'm
you.
doing fantastic. Thank you so much for agreeing to join me on camera to answer some questions.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure.
Okay, wonderful. Well, I'm going to jump right in here this
Sure.
morning. And I'm going to ask, what makes a good mortgage broker? What's the difference between you and somebody else?
I think the main differential between mortgage lenders is the service that they provide. Being a local lender, I'm familiar with the area. I'm available 24/7. Borrowers can call me nights, weekends, and I think that's very important for a buyer. They want to know that they can contact the loan officer to get the loan approved, to get the pre-approval as they need it. So I think the service is a huge role for the loan officer. Obviously, rates are very important at the moment, but rates are very low at the moment. So everybody's rates are similar. Fairway, I'm fortunate, has very good rates, very competitive rates. So I think what differentiates me and the other Fairway loan officers is the service that we provide and basically just the knowledge of the local market that we have.
Absolutely, I agree. I know I've sent people over to you at 6:30 on a Friday evening, or 3 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon, and then they'll call me shortly after and tell me, "Hey, I reached him." So
Yeah, I have my cell phone with me at all times, and if somebody calls, I take that call. And it just happens that most people are shopping on the weekends, so that's just the way it is. That Saturdays and Sundays are busy days because that's when people do a lot of shopping. And when you're dealing with internet lenders or with these larger nationwide banks or whatever, they don't work weekends, so they can't send you
yeah,
that pre-approval as you need it.
yeah.
The pre-approval that I send is customized to the property. It's not a generic pre-approval just saying I'm pre-approved for X amount. It's specific to the property, which makes your offer a stronger offer. So
Yeah.
that's just something that we have to provide over the weekend because that's when people do the shopping. So I get a phone
Absolutely.
call from the agent, I need a pre-approval for this address. I will have already got them pre-approved, and I just change the pre-approval and customize it to that property for them. So
Absolutely.
makes
Yeah.
for a stronger offer, I believe.
Your answer there kind of leads me into my second question for you. And it's, why should someone work with a local lender versus working with a nationalized or internet lender? They're really convenient. You just do a little search and you pull them up.
You
Why
do.
choose someone local instead?
You just mentioned there that they are convenient, except when you want to get a hold of them. When you need to contact them for any reason, you can't get a hold of them. And sometimes you're dealing with multiple loan officers, so you might be talking to one minute, and then you're talking to somebody else the next about the same file. When
Mm,
I get a loan, when I get a file, it's with me and me only throughout the whole process. So I
yeah.
know exactly what stage we're at in the process. I know exactly what needs to be done to move the stage on. I work with the same processor. I work with the same team. There's only
Mm,
three of us that work through all my files. So we each know exactly where we are.
yeah.
So to answer your question, it would basically be the service that's provided.
Yeah.
It's convenient to look online. And to be honest, it's a good tool to give you a rough idea of what rates you can get. But I would always recommend, no matter what market you're in, to go with a local lender, just because you'll get that added service, and your lender will always know what's best for you to help you through the process.
Yeah. And I know for me as an agent, I always prefer to see that a buyer is working with someone local, because that means I can pick up the phone and reach somebody that is responsible to the file.
Yes,
When you're working with these nationalized companies, it most of the time, many times, there's not even someone that's actually working the file involved. You can't reach them.
that's
You
true.
can't get the answers that you need when you need them.
Of course. And I mean, Fairway was the number one lender in 2019 in Kitsap. We do so much business in this area. And yeah, I would always go with your local lender. They just provide that level of service. that you can't get if you use internet lenders.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I've had a lot of loans recently where a client has been pre-approved from an internet lender. They cannot close on time. Fairway, we close generally 30 days, unless there's any problems, it's generally a 30-day close. The amount of loans that have been referred to me on day 24, 25, because the lender cannot close, the internet lender won't be able to close for you. It amazes me, really. You know, these are important things to know up front. Can the lender provide what he's saying? If he's saying he can close in 30 days, can he do that? Because most of these internet lenders don't. They work 9 to 5, they don't work weekends, and the file will sit there for a period of time before it gets moved on to the next stage. As I say, my team are constantly monitoring all my files. So when one step has been fulfilled, it's on to the next one the same day, so that we can meet that 30-day close. And generally do. So that's another big difference is basically the service provided and the speed of closing is why I would, and local knowledge, obviously, as to why I would use a local lender.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Even if I'm representing a seller, I love to see that buyer has someone local that is responsible to the file.
Exactly.
Definitely. Yeah. Okay. And then, you know, Alan, what's entailed in getting a buyer pre-approved or a borrower pre-approved, you know, and why would they want to do that? Why would they want to get pre-approved before they start home shopping?
You should get your pre-approval at the very beginning, because the pre-approval is going to tell you how much you're qualified to buy. There's no point in looking at, say, a $450,000 priced home if you're only qualified for a $400,000 home. So it basically just lets the buyer know, here's how much it's going to cost me on a monthly basis, and here's how much I'm qualified for. So if you're looking for anything outside of those parameters, you're kind of wasting your time. It's best to get the pre-approval up front. Now, you don't have to use the full amount that you're qualified for. If the monthly payment that comes with that purchase price is too high, your lender will be able to tell you that this is how much it's going to cost. And if you're comfortable, if you're not comfortable at that level and you want to pay less on a monthly mortgage, the lender can just go into your file, lower the purchase price, and tell you how much the payment is going to be at this particular price range. So you can use it. And obviously, it's best to get that pre-approval up front, so you're ready to jump if you find the property. But it also helps it helps educate the buyer as to what price should I really be buying at? How much is it going to cost me for a $400,000 home? The lender will be able to tell you all that by looking at the file. He can change the numbers and give you that information just at the drop of a hat. So that's why it's important to get that pre-approval up front. You know that you're shopping in the price range that you can afford and that you can qualify for. And just on that point, it's so easy. People get intimidated thinking, oh, I'm applying for a mortgage. It's really a simple process. You can meet in person, obviously, being a local lender, we can do that. But especially in COVID times, most of the work is done electronically. So it's just an email link. It's a secure link. You go in there to the website, you put in the information that they're asking, hit submit, and it comes into my inbox. Now, at that stage, I can send you an email with the documents that are needed. So you pretty much need, your pay stubs for the last month, your bank statements, your W-2s, and your tax returns for the last 2 years. And with that information, that's how we figure out how much you qualify for. So that's pretty much all you need up front is those basic documents. And you send them to me, and I can verify what's in your file based off of those documents. And that's how I issued the pre-approval. So a lot of people get nervous about it. It can literally be done in an hour if everything is in order.
And it's really a simple process to get you started so that you don't walk into a property and fall in love and then find out that you can't afford it.
Exactly. And that does happen. People, they haven't got the pre-approval up front. They go and they find something, they love it. Then they put in an application and they find out they don't qualify for the property. So it's always best to get the pre-approval up front, because then if you do fall in love with a house that you qualify for, you're ready to jump as well. You can make that offer immediately. You don't have to wait to then put in your application and such and such. So that's what I would recommend in the process. Get the pre-approval up front so you know where you are.
Absolutely. Yeah. Which kind of leads us into, the next question. We're talking about getting pre-approved and falling in love with properties. Well, in this market, it's so competitive. And a lot of times we're competing with cash offers. So what would a borrower need to do in order to be able to present a pre-approval letter that would be competitive with a cash offer in this market?
Yeah. So a cash offer is obviously the most attractive offer to a seller because there's no financing involved. It's a straight cash transaction. It can close quickest. So that's obviously the most attractive offer to a seller. So my goal is to get my buyers' offers as close to cash as we can get to make them more attractive. So at Fairway, we can submit a file to an underwriter, not to an automated underwriting system, but to an actual person, an actual underwriter. Once they've given us an underwritten approval on a file, that is as close as you can get to a cash offer, because it's basically saying that the file has been to an underwriter, they've reviewed it, and they've approved it. So there's less chance that that deal will fall through for whatever reason. You're really just waiting on an appraisal to come in, add value, and you're good to go because you've already gone through the underwriting process. Now, Fairway can do that for conventional loans, which in 2021, the loan limit for a conventional loan is $548,000. So anything up to that level, we can do that. We provide that service. If you go above that level, $548,000, you're in a jumbo loan. So we used to send them to our jumbo investors. At the moment, with it being so busy, sometimes they're not fully underwriting the file for us. Sometimes we can, but up until that 548 level, that's always what I like to do, is to get a fully underwritten file because it's as close as you can get to cash and it's the most attractive offer that you can get. It does require underwriters approving files that we do not have contracts on. So a lot of mortgage companies don't provide that option. At Fairway, we do, because we understand how important it is and how important it is for a buyer to get that, to make their offer as competitive as possible. So that's what I would recommend in that situation.
Yeah, I agree. And underwriting a pre-approval letter is the best you can do in competing against cash. And I just wanted to point out too, people watching, you say the 548 is, is as high as it can go, but I want to make sure that the people watching understand that that is the highest loan amount. So any down payment that you would be making would be added on top of that to determine.
Of course, yes.
Right.
Yeah, that's 548 is simply the loan amount. So you can obviously buy as much as you want, but you would pay the difference yourself.
Exactly.
Now, if you go above 548, that's fine as well. It's just that it's different guidelines for approval. You then become a jumbo loan. So there's different requirements, but that's not to say the maximum loan you can get is that amount. You can go as high as you like, but to keep it conventional, you want to keep the loan amount below that 548 level.
Exactly. Yeah. So to make the underwriting approval easy.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. And then, what time frame is involved in? I know we briefly touched on it earlier, but from contract to close, what's involved?
It's pretty much a 30-day close is what Fairway offers. So you get your pre-approval, you make your offer, hopefully it's accepted. Once you go under contract, 30 days is the time period it usually takes to close. Now, it is possible to go shorter. It's usually about 2 weeks for the appraisal. That's usually what takes the longest time. I like to order my appraisals right at the start of the transaction, even before you've done your inspection, because that is usually what takes the longest time in the process. But once you have your appraisal back, it's basically at that stage, we will have loan approval for you. Then we resubmit the loan with the appraisal back to the underwriting, and you get what's called clear to close. That normally takes 2 days, and then to get your documents drawn and sent to escrow is about another 2 days. So you're looking at about a week in that to get those documents towards the end. And if you can get the appraisal back within 2 weeks, if you add it all up, 30 days is a comfortable close for us. So, and that's another thing when you're using internet lenders and all that, they usually cannot meet their closing dates. It's important that you do your best to meet whatever closing date you've put on the contract, because the sellers will get anxious if it goes past that close date for whatever reason.
Well,
So
furthermore, there's, written right within the contract. I mean, the seller has the right to terminate the contract if
they
you go
do.
beyond
They do,
that
yeah.
30
So,
days.
we obviously
Yeah.
realize the importance of this, and we want to close as soon as we can, to that, as close as we can to that close date. So 30 days is a comfortable date for what, once you've got your contract accepted, we normally date the contract for 30 days beyond that.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Alan, for talking with me this morning. Hopefully, we've provided some valuable information to the people watching.
Yeah,
And
you're welcome. It was a pleasure talking with you again.
yes, it was. I really enjoyed it. Thanks again.
You're
We'll talk
welcome.
soon.
Okay, have a great day. Take care, Lori.
Okay, you too.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Alan. Well, I don't know about you, but I thought that was a lot of useful information. Hopefully, you got some valuable insights as well. Reach out to me or Alan if you are in the market for a new home and need a professional real estate agent or a great local lender. And I look forward to seeing you all soon. Thanks so much.